trial because the recording software was interrupted by another piece of software, but the gist was this is just one of many entrances into the collection here. Let's go look at some books. The title of this volume reads, The Story of Charlie. Read the book. Long, long ago on an island on the Northern Sea, there lived a rugged man by the name of Nooncraft. Nooncraft was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for the imperial realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to the horror of the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nooncraft's crew hauled them aboard his ark, but the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached and threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. Only moments to spare, Nooncraft wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to the safety of top of Avalathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before the disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nooncraft gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and they abandoned the ark to those rugged peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent on returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon a very spot. The settlement prospered and grew, and time grew to became the city of Charlotte and we live in to this day. The title of this volume reads, Roads of Old, a Colony. Many years ago, on the banks of the Daliac and the Javanian hinterlands, the Charlian colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th astral era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting and the demands encouraged a gradual expansion of structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated by Eorzea students hoping to share the renowned wisdom of the Charlanes. 50 years later, the forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an efficient Charlian colony. Eorzea residents took the colony itself, Charlian, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned the subject of the motherland. So some Charlian inhabitants pressed for a name would simply refer to it as the Emporium. Following the exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters landed for themselves at the corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Littleshire. Chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Littleshire. But this book does not appear to contain additional information on the forum, carved with the history of the Charlian motherland in great detail. Spine reads A Voice of a Great City. The years which followed the founding of Charlotte and civic policy and other matters of importance were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum in which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The large number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays in vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but the year 201 of the 6th astral era was ultimately decreed that Charlian would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of nationwide vote. Thus was the form as we know it today conceived and created. Title Inspired reads An Introduction to the Heavens. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries that contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet among the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of the boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologies of Alec that came closest to understanding the laws of governing the starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read upon the ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that the positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart and may indeed do so forever? Maybe you should learn more. The book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain detailed form, not or mention the history of Charlie. Silence finally reads forever 20 summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed the rest of your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19 or 23 or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the great truths and pursue. In the pages that follow, you will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethological, and arcane viewpoint. The tab on the spine reads Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archon Numkreth, founder of the Shalian, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising the settlement on an island in the north and empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue alignment through knowledge and reason. The Shalians took heart to the words of their savior, thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other. A nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers and inexplorables of water. Wealth of expertise can be bartered for wealth and coin, and the more their wisdom strayed to better the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter what the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Charlotte would live by the founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war with knowledge, and with knowledge deliver the world. Again, fundamental understanding, blah blah blah. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alpha and Growl should be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as at present, this plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would be nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always fond of reading outside. But it's not always about the pleasures, is it? You missed your home. It's been difficult. To arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems that dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Shalian, we were not allowed to cross the threshold. Harsh measure indeed. I hope our efforts to understand this position, that of the Forum, will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you visited your family? Or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Shalian, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilzabard, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal regions opposite the island of Thavnir. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquake of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, but they may prevent the remnants of the Alligan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvos under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemon remained the region locus amonis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, nobles of House Dardas. House Dardas demonstrated a singular interest in Alligan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, the voices had been raised in favor of banning our ancient customs. After all, the Alligan I no longer passed our eldest children as reliably as I once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties of knowledge to the traditions of Alec. As the last child born with the Alligan I was given over the custody of the defense of the students of Valdesian, where I be registered as a Shalian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken by Arkan Louisor, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common along Shalians than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. And with that sufficient perspicacity, we outsiders can even learn the founded Tardal of Archon. It's exactly why I have such love for this country, why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the foreign stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books, Sarah. Our company should be arriving any moment now. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say the pickings were quite slim indeed, Mrs. Sproul has already flicked through every history book devoted to the disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we'll be looking to research papers on the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the Fallow Days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amrat firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter when the final days drew nigh? The medicinalization of the creation magics. Yes, the important catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling in the streets. less aligns with my understanding. Following the arts and creation that survived until the present day, we might have had something that seems substantial and analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Shola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Assassins. Was there aught else of note which sheltered the approach of the final days? Dire Star was engulfed by disaster all at once. I think you may be misremembering. I think it was a more gradual spread. The Amortine spoke of a keening sun that rose in the land just before the region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course. We thrust as we were in the midst of the madness. So the crowd was crying out, you see. To be considered a harbinger of doom must be quite distinctive, possibly quite loud. After speaking with Lord Newman and some mammoths, and asked for any books which may give mention of any such sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this and put to calamity? What definitive action did they take? They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with a little bit serving as his heart. Somebody gave themselves a sacrifice to him, bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to this tower, only that it's by his godlike will were their laws of nature set right. Then once the balance was just, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render to Zodiac, a trade that would allow them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primal. Who might have, if Bernard or fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Eidolon. Thank you, both of you, for a detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With that all freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophorai truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. It's forcing people to succumb to primals and counter-catalyst. They're attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics. Or they're simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction of an ideal niche. What's just pointless conjecture at this stage? Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Ishtola, but 'tis time we begin studying these research papers. I'm the last, am I? Well, I extended my search of the Argon stacks, produced about one or two possible useful hopes, but not going to get your hopes up. If you recall, Ryanja learned of the sources of reflections from the Gurun oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Google Library. 'Tis even less likely that the knowledge of the uncensored world, not to mention the horrors of final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. Stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should before us be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when he confronted Master Foshan with the knowledge of the Telophorai and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion of the opposer threat. He seemed adamant that the forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports the conclusion that whatever privilege, wisdom, and wit is guiding the forum's behavior is being kept secret for the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading to you. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books can yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work to for everyone. Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd still feel quiet moments for myself. Found not of interest so far. I think each dollar might be right if I'm not getting hopes on. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subjects I mentioned? The day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, I'm not at the references will point you in your direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied by research for quite some time. For tea break, sir? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a minute. You know the last stand down at the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near outside the outside tables and I'll treat you to the coffee. It's quite good. As busy as ever, I see. How very shocking that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions to gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Talafari. I might even learn something new. With a drive, don't you think? Man, not enjoying that moment of private respite. If you're looking to share a table with me, I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We're simply wondering if you knew of the Talafari. Its end use of the peace have promised an end to all we hold here, and... Wait, you're that house delivery girl, aren't you? And this woman with the obviously is foreign. I heard you were disowned for helping poor outsiders indulge in barbaric whims. And you are giving truth to the group. I thank you to leave me be, not to see the lights of you. Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish for me to expect an honest civility from one so light. Come, sir. Yes, I do believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excusing the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Talafari and their unconscionable plans. Thank goodness it is in Miss Lafayette. My apologies, but I work in the offices of the forum, and if word reached the master portion of that was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Welcome, madam. What am I going to offer you today? Wait, is that Mrs. Alice there? I see that. My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Meet Dagon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent this cafe on this occasion between lessons at the studio. It seems like age now. I remember that having you and Master Alvino had said so far yesterday, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Is everything alright at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is house love again. No matter how discreet Master Fortune may have been, losing your family's doings never stays stable for long. Things be the way they are. It brings you back to the city now at times. We have questions, and only Charlene has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, has anyone heard about the apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information of this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. Which is the more I can do to help. Remember there is. You visited Charlotte, haven't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a servant within the wiser. I just finished preparing a few orders, struck up a conversation while you were setting down the food, and you might just be able to get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea is set for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. Omelette is for one of her regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at the outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see Mikote gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask them to explain again. Good luck. Oh, hi, she said. Lovely, thank you. Talafa who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them over their final days. My friends are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you wanted to hear some ritual arcanite practices in the Sixth Act, common or esoteric, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Let's dig in, no time to waste. Go, what? It's off, right? Oh yes, I remember seeing the name of the latest gazette. Got some grand claim over the end of final days. Same old senseless wallmonger. When will the fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Just stay out of it, I say. The firm made the right choice, and I fully support their decision to remain neutral. Lobsters of mine. You have no idea how long I've been scripted to stay with Stafford to before this happened. Final days, for example. Although that would explain why my friend hasn't brushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of sorts. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in the shop. Prices, books, unusual life specimens, and so forth. So, named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain of which was missed. By all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. These Tolafari make good on their audacious threats. Many catalogs will be lost forever. Why else would the cleaners be pressing about such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carrying loads from the docks all day. It's never been in a second before, not like this. Interesting. I seem unaware of the found is, except for wherever the great news the gazettes are printed. Even Dickon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. But the forum does have secret knowledge, that they have done every present job in ensuring no one was in the wrong mood. In any case, thank you for playing your part so well. Here, the cup of coffee I promised. But let's enjoy a drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and the wagging tongues. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go ahead and back to the Nunaman. I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. coffee smell. Did I miss tea break? Where's Alice? Thought she was with you. My loyal assistant returns. There's lexicon on the first floor that I need you to... Ah, you found something, haven't you? Welcome back, Sarah. Been for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly. We'd have an impromptu investigating and turned up some information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take the requests directly from the institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic in the cargo. It certainly gives the impression of our overarching plan to being put into motion. Let's see what that theory can build from the facts. As you showed earlier, Moonman's archaeologists appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Sarah and Alice had learned from the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Australians know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yeah, my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Jawfire is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Foreign claims to be so occupied with their duties of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny your overseer's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it is a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secret events. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves, and if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. What should we expect down there? Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Ra. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. Won't you step in Labyrinthos? It's rather more perilous than a simple storehouse, although it will likely make the experience all the more attractive to an adventurer like you. Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may find the path to be a bit disorienting. I'll take a lead, so stay close. Off we go then. I suppose in here amongst the trees. We should move along. Now we run, try to keep up. Keep to the path, straight ahead. Across this bridge. Here. across her, not far from here. Here we are, through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to tune me to the shard back there, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, you just keep moving. Choosing you in trouble with a reporter. Ah, don't tell me this is your stop. I've been to Labyrinthos the longest time. Even as a student, my visits were few and far between. You didn't take a wrong turn to the roster, did you? I doubt the forum would decline you to your bargaining into a private session. How did the forum learn of the Valadays and exactly how much did they know? More to the point, what did they intend to do about it? Do the answer to at least one of those questions lies below. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing preparation for our little group's descent. Right, everyone to the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh.
Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Excuse me, are you Gleaner? If you don't mind, I have some questions to ask. Fascinating, but could you go back to what you were saying earlier? You're hoping it'll give me more headaches, because if you don't have the look of the Gleaner, and I'm not in the mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues is so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have a pack of marmots running loose. Let me think. The Riyadh seeds should be under item 1058, Cuban seeds 1059, Snowberry 1060. Oh, really 1061? Ah, my head feels like it's stuffed with mocha grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes Corthian carrots with the gear of bounty carrots? What then? Most of the gathered here appear to be gleaners. Why don't you wander around and try making small talk? You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books, and ore, and fauna. If it needs hauling, I'll haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos, sorted and tidying up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this, before, though. They did one just a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in my labs. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Any luck, Sarah? What tales do the Gleaners have to tell? This grand operation began without warning. And for every item they bring in, they're sending out more inventory somewhere else. That explains the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right, the firm's definitely up to something, and they're turning the Labyrinthos upside down in the process. We should do well to learn more of what, specifically, the Gleaners are being tasked to do, and as well who has tasked them to do it. For games here, I have an idea. Did one of the Gleaners you questioned say something about escaping marmots? Perhaps he would help him capture said creatures. He might be inclined to go toward a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms upon this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterward. Happy hunting! To help me find the marmots. I have nothing suitable to pay you with your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I'd welcome the assistance. The name is Erendel, specialist in the collection of life specimens. That said, the capture of these Naxian marmots is a trial I've no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call it. For mercy, there are no marmot species on the tier at present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in this sack. Gently, of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I'm not seeing any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey down on a marmot, or you. I'll search to the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. How did you fare? I tracked down the 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 accounted for. Ah, there's the odd Marmot out. Wait here a moment while I put her friends into a holding cage. Thankfully, the Marmots seem to be unharmed. They've held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly, beyond my thanks. What do we do with the Marmots now? That's for the Forum to decide. They're the ones guarding the authority behind the Labyrinthos, and this job was but one small part of this great inventory of theirs. Suitable for consumption and easy to breed. These are two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least, I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. Ah, there you are, Sarah. It's this cleaning you mentioned, the one who was looking for last Marmots. Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk anyway? I'm Crown of the students in Valdez. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decisions of late have not sat entirely well with us. That is why we've made the descendants to Labyrinthos. We hope by seeing these decisions come to action, we might more fully understand the reason. Why is it impractical? Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture moon closers to empty. Once again, I'm sorry I couldn't offer you more of your services. Did you learn anything from your new from your friend there? So we've confirmed that the order of this ambitious operation is indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I'd say that fits in with everything we've heard thus far. We've also discovered that when the operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners guild ship and put their people to this great work for some 4 days after the Jalafri made the chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners cleared abreast of the news from every corner of the world out of necessity. It's not going to trust that the calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives a distinct impression that this undertaking is a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthos and his archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. The Jalafri's declaration was what set it all in motion. Seems likely, but it's not leaped to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wide investigation of Labyrinthos. The more facilities we visit, the more places of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archeon? From there we can reach the lower... Wow, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it then. Please allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I can remember the way to the Archeon. We followed the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse or marmot, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. Don't worry about me. I'm hale and healthy. I can beginning to suspect that. Man, let's discuss this later. The investigation demands our undivided attention. We caught in the mist on the way here. The sparrows keep the air humid, so the habitat feels as close as possible to natural forest. This is the foremost cemetery or archive in Shroud. I could love to explore its treasures by shelf, but I feel like little time in such indulgences. Behold the archive. As Luminon serves as Shroud's literary archives, present structure hosts the city's wealth of material. Architecture too is similar. The building you see is merely upper entrance. An access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as detailed records which describe. Better speaking, the Archeon contains the physical history of the Shaolins' unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Let's proceed into the main building and speak with the custodian. That Archeon for something around the rare side. Got a whole village's worth of surplus of the Archeon, some which can be yours for some byproduct gemstones. Greetings, we're here to peruse the Archeon's vaults. Peruse? You're Seclura Naglinus, then. I'd ask your affiliation. We belong to the students of Baldesion, but is that relevant? As given to relieve the vaults, those open to the public at least, were open to the public. Ordinarily, yes, that would be the case. At present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved in the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not to us, then. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the middle tier, yes? Might we at least make use of that? The service halls has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of the inventory. But, so this is as far as we can go? Apologies for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructuring operation is concluded. Well, it's only too late, and we're so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let's step outside for the moment, shall we? Students of Baldesion. One must be wary of exposure indeed to heavily restrict the use of public institutions. If they're going to close out facilities, they ought to announce it. The students must be furious. Labyrinthos is constructed in the shape of a mortar. The upper layer is called the outer circuit, and the medial circuit lies one tier below us. They're an impasse. As having all the leads, I should like to pursue this one further. I doubt our stone-faced custodian will be swayed by help for her pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It's likely that people in this area are involved with the structuring in one way or another. If we are to ingratiate ourselves, it might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let's ask around if someone is in need for a few strong backlight on the road. we're taking a lift. Oh no, we're just students. They won't let us into the Archeon, even though we found... Actually, I have no idea what we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere. But I was wondering about the tranquility we thought we could donate it to the wells. I'll just squeal, don't you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archeon is open again. Great. Is that take a lift down with me? Sorry, not a chance. I've been up and down all day now. Now only have not a spare moment to rest. Just see a gleaner fellow heading out to the gate here, though. Shouldering a large bag, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever he's doing. Fine. You're frightened it away. Ah, it's you again. Don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The cloud kid I need to capture is very close. Very close. You should help me with this too. You're spending your time in unusual ways at the moment. Still 200 is generally better than 1. Very well. The canal here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds. I'm after today's a home. As far as agreeing, it's very easy to sneak with cotton. Sure, feel that I'm shoot it with this thing. The effects are short-lived, so I'll lie and wait down by the river making the on form. Be sure to get the right one. Man.
Fair shot! Nicely done! Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
There you are. Any new revelations?
So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill. I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a cleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you'd do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
Notice this cave on my own. Like the scholar that Arundel knew of it, and that you were the one who persuaded him to be shared. The middle circle within which Endwalker mentioned is the tier directly below us. At the lowest levels of the labyrinth, there's such a big security. One can usually go the merit over there quite freely. Let's see what we might find. There's a quick peek inside, but it's only dark in there. This must be an entrance in large. I think there's something wrong with it. We just honed it by the researchers. Well, slobbering beasts aside, we need to watch our footing. We should tighten our straps and such before we continue. Man-made though it may be, this shaft was designed to resemble a natural cave system. Heed Arumbel's warnings and go and do the step carefully. Assuming everyone's starting to distract and check the gear, I'd say we head on in. Given the terrain ahead, though, it might be wise to leave some distance between us. You don't want us tumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Like I said, don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. You can meet up again at the other end of the tunnel. That mine shaft is infested with methocaps. Some sort of research project, I wonder. I suppose they are a most unusual creature. Why did they develop such long limbs when they already suffer out in narrow tongues? I was being careful, I swear. Still be stupid than I thought. I lost my friend for a moment. That's all. I'm not injured if you don't count my pride. Sir, do you know the crowd most could tumble back there? She can't possibly still be dizzy from the lift. Well, it seems to have made it through without incident. Nothing consequent, at least. Consequence, at least. And has promised to tumble delivered us into the medial circuit. So recall, this tier was where they keep a variety of samples for agricultural production. If everyone's old presumption holds true, then the specimens are being collected in preparation for great migration. Then we should see evidence of such plans in this area's research projects. Let's follow the path through the nearest farming facility and see what we can see. Ah, now I know where we are. This is the Mineral Ergonomics. Labyrinthos is a host of a wide variety of vegetation, which allows us to conduct studies of cultivation methods utilizing foreign lands. And it's this facility which coordinates and oversees those efforts. The fruits of the research go to be the Labyrinthos colleagues just right here. Our notable successes might be take on the Agora. Food so exotic you'd be hard-pressed to guess origin, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables are without a name, only list nutritional benefits of school on the card. I see no one in your hairlines, that these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It is possible they know some of the form's plans and their underlying motivations. We're looking into, wouldn't you say? See if we can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same and cast about for useful things. Full of red vegetables being left to rot in line. Not a single picker hard at work. Clear procuring readily available fresh food is not the form's priority. Oh, hello there. We were expecting visitors, not with the use of the lift being restricted. I can make it down here. My shoes. Much harder to sold it on. There are all circumstances where the words are nicely to get to it for meals, but I'm afraid the form has been. That's one of the orders. Order list of long wall. Has to get detailed request. Literal wagons of crop samples and hardly any time to put them together. Never heard of this Grand Ray organization, assumed we would be something around old stock and moving the mill. They gave the orders for ridiculous quantities of seeds and we've already seen thoroughly researched. That's strange, eh? The first my explanation of this vague assurance is that all will be revealed in due course. The most satisfying answer. So you spent years researching this ideal cultivation techniques. Drive ought to be taken down below, more than I can carry then some. Those are stock sent off by our cargo lift, but sometimes when we earmarked for an aerial transport. Hence the stack of cargo crates out of it up that hill. God, pulling a lot up that slope was a job and a half. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, the sun is a variety of grape. Only needs to be a good source of sunlight to grow. The conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Hardly surprising given it's the nature of a particular locale in the very place upon which Labyrinthos is modeled, the region in the south of Ilzabar. It boasts of remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for myriad flora and fauna to thrive. Sleep peaks in the north give way to the swaths of temperate plains, which transition to hot, humid coastline. Such bountiful territory is ever contested, as you might expect. It used to be called Corvos before the Imperials renamed it Locus Amanus. From sound not as a prize, however, but as a researcher's ideal environment, one whose climates we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthos. It has provided a rich foundation for countless experience in cultivation. Got the crates on the hill, it's going below. That sounds promising. I got the others and join you there.
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy, dark subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track, we've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
Have you learned aught of interest? A flower that reacts to one's feelings? Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we fail to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenville's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the Archaeum? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member, or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all... Cryo?
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
Almost. I can almost reach you.
Forgive my attention has been elsewhere. We were following Erenville, weren't we? Who's running the spy in Erenville? How far has he been? But what other choice do we have? Let's get after him already. We've waited too long as it is. This girl still feeling unwell. Never seen her so distracted. Keep an eye on her, but we're moving too. We cannot move her far as we're going. Erenville was headed westwards along the path outside the Archeon. Come on, we can still catch him. Seems he's totally wishes to have a word with us. We're falling too far behind. This damn mess won't what matters. We can still hear it. Hold on a moment to have an idea. Memory serves, the colossal wall-like structure is logistic on Beta, one of the Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which we could want access to the upper or lower tiers. If our radiation form, it would make for a convenient meeting place. Believing to happen to find Erenville in the company of said agent, we cannot simply expect them to reveal the issues and reports as we nonchalantly stroll past. Nay, we should have to remain undetected. Oh god, it's vanished nowhere here. Oh, but there are other ways of turning invisible. Hippity hop, my little toads. Goodness! Unaccustomed transfiguration, worry not, it will wear off with the passage of time. I suggest you and your green companion hop along and catch up with Anvil. Should you feel the magic's fading, return to me and I'll refresh the enchantment. And what am I to do in the meantime? Wait with me here with me. In your current state of mind, you'd be likely to sleep until the jaws of competitors you would learn of anything about. Which reminds me, where are the creatures hereabouts? In that form, you are essentially defenseless. Ribbit. I would have enjoyed being a toad for a little while, if only to change your pace, but Shula's right. I'm too preoccupied with other matters.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, The Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Charlean scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Charlean was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full. While I do have my reservations about the Forum, I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
A toad performance needs work, apparently. I'll have to pay more attention the next time I see one. I suppose we should have known a Gleaner who specialized in animal procurement would not be so easily deceived. Yeah, he seemed inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps, to discover a new piece of the puzzle. This momentous duty the former agent mentioned. Showing the call to action in the Telophorus Declaration was a catalyst. Whatever charge it is they hope to fulfill, they deem it as sufficient importance to disrupt all Labyrinthos, not to mention to ignore Ares' request for aid. Happened to cross paths with Erenville again, and we should like to thank him properly. What duty could warrant the direct involvement of the Forum and the commitment of all of its resources? Judging by what we just heard, none of the Gleaners were offered any kind of explanation. At this point, it seems abundantly clear that we'll learn nothing new by pressing them further. We should head back to Ishtal and Kraut for the moment, see what they think of this. Yeah, it is. There. Where'd the crowd go? It's funny how normal the forest seems now. As a toad, it was all so much more ominous and threatening. Where's Crowd? Looking back, I trust you found Aaronville then. Interesting. I had a feeling you would learn something important, even if that was simply simply a confirmation that no one knows much of anything. We should share with the crowd and then discuss how we'd like to proceed. Assuming we'll find her back at the farm. She was still behaving oddly, so I bade her return and rest there. Perhaps not the best decision in hindsight. Would you mind checking near those flowers that she was so entranced by? The rest of us can survey the more distant areas, just in case she decided to wander. My sweetest shackles, one of the Archaeon's precious samples has fled. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? My apologies. I'm Noelle Tia, an archivist. The Archaeon is home to those various samples we collected from across the star, and one such specimen has just escaped. A young troll, to be specific. Oh, I hope it hasn't been set upon by the local predators. Listen, I promise to compensate you, so could you please help me retrieve this specimen? My thanks. I will continue to search the area. I would like you to check the 33rd facet. Once you have a comprehensive look around, please meet me at the Archaeon to report your findings.
for you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment. Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance. Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Minfilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play, though that will depend on you. Take the flower, walk free, for you are free to go where you wish, to believe what you will. That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy, surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine, till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first, so weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread, imagine my surprise to discover it was Heidelin herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts, that unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Master Fortuno? What business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian. A group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion. And we will not risk its success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Graha! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
The Forum will come to order! This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian, but these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own. The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the Forum's policymaking process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent, the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd. From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthos. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea. You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
Yes, we are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle? We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission not through strife and bloodshed, but survival. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuno, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, we cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? Now, if we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
Order! We will have order! Master Monteshane raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldesion are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlayan. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. I count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences.
Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
I apologize for the trouble I've caused you. Responding to the significance of what I've just read as I left the restricted section. I knocked over the security mammoth on my way out. I promise to be more vigilant next time. I may encounter some raised eyebrows, but do continue to claim the students as responsible whatsoever the need arises. I believe in the guiding principles of the science, and I know my grandfather would have as well. My father may be right, but I'm still groping in the dark for answers. I needed him to know that I would never stop searching. I owed that much to it, Arnold, to myself. Like the gods for Scarlet Martian. I absolutely loathed arguing in the city in circles. Well, at least we're been allowed to remain in the city. And our endless investigations have not been in vain. We now know that this mysterious duty of theirs began with whatever the forum discovered the Aetheros. With our freedoms no sorely curtailed, however, we will struggle to learn a lot of more substance in your child. I have to think very carefully about how we are to proceed from here. The overall picture has grown clearer, yes, but that's in spite of the forums being so maddeningly vague about this duty of theirs. Why are they so reluctant to explain their actions in plain words? So revel, come what may, is father's work so vital that it takes precedence over his own family? Alphino? Alice, it is you! When I heard you've been dragged up before the forum, I came as swiftly as I could. I'm so very glad they allowed you to stay. Mother? I'm Elias Leveilleur at your service. And you fine people must be the signs of the 7th dawn. How lovely it is to finally meet you. Mother, please, we don't wish to make things difficult for you. We're worried your father that you are here. Oh, bother that. Am I to be chastised for speaking to my own children? I am well aware that you and Master Koshin are not on the best of terms at the moment. I've been absolutely desperate to see my darlings again. You will come by the house, won't you? I have gifts waiting. Time to be better. As I understand, we shan't be going anywhere until we have discussed matters with Thanker's group and considered our options. Go visit your home. We'll be back with the annex when you're ready to rejoin us. I'm not sure. Sarah, what do you think? Sarah? The Sarah Eaton? What a splendid day this has turned out to be. Champion of Ares here. I insist that you join us. But we must be quick about it. Not for my own benefit, but should my husband return and find you enjoying our hospitality, the servants will be made to suffer the consequences. Sarah, if you'd be so kind, please escort my children to the estate. She was gone, and with her any opportunity to protest. Indeed, the matter settled. Enjoy yourselves, you three. I'm sure Alvaro thinks nothing of it. He invited classmates all over all the time. But I wasn't the most. It was a different time for me, all right. My mother is not want to take no for an answer. Still, I'm glad. Relieved even to see you such high spirits. What say you, sir? Though it seems we'll have little enough time to enjoy it, will you come with us to visit on a visit home? we're going, then let's get it over with. Be sure to stay in the entrance hall. No picking to our private chambers. Thank you very much. Why ever not? Your room is always perfectly neat and tight. Everyone has things they'd rather keep to themselves, don't they? Cherished memories you can bring yourself to throw away, childhood toys. Never mind. The levy estate is that way. Straight down the stairs. Come on! And I were little. This bridge was as far as we were able to wander along. I say alone, but my mother was always someone nearby, keeping watch on my eye. Look at us, traveling to different continents and different worlds in them. As children often I would also often wait for our father to come home from work. We spent a day when his movements ran long, because I remember growing restless and leaning over the railing to watch the water rush by. Father, of course, arrived at the exact moment, came pounding down the path and crying out my name. Come here all the time with Grandfather. Sometimes I would dip my hands in the deep fountain and splash about with him. Not often though. Even back then, he wasn't very fond of playing water. I make any excuse to avoid it. I should explain how I came to swim like an ox and he sleep like a stone. Oh, this is the first where I first practiced magic on an actual person. I say I'd fallen, you see, it scared me quite badly, so I tried to kill something the first over the spell I was doing just now. She smiled when the moon closed. I joined belief. I believe the very first moment I chose healing arts as my subject of my studies. And here you are at last. Please do come in.
Welcome home, my lady.
What? What are you gawping at?
Just admiring the craftsmanship.
Oh, I suppose I never gave the decor much thought. I'm glad that you approve, I think.
Lord Fortuneau is not to hear of this visit. And I should also like the children to have their gifts, ere my husband makes his return.
As you wish, my lady.
Master Alphino, Mistress Alice, if you would accompany me upstairs.
We shan't be long.
The twins have been sending letters home from time to time, recounting their latest adventures. I am sure they withhold certain details, of course, if only to keep me from worrying. Yet a mother worries all the same. In the early days especially, I tried to support them as best I could, sending the Scion's coin and other such donations. Fortunately, they have found the strength to overcome adversity time and time again. Their words grow more confident with every letter, their depictions more vivid. The triumphs and defeats, the joys and sorrows. It is clear that they have come to find value in every experience. But of those they treasure most, it would seem that meeting you might be the most impactful. Why, since that fateful day, I do believe there has not been a single missive in which you were not mentioned by name. "'Tis plain they care for you, and I am glad they have such a steadfast companion watching over them. Under normal circumstances, I would offer you tea, but alas, these are anything but. In any event, why don't you keep me company whilst we await my children's return? Perhaps you might regale me with a tale or two of your exploits."
When you mentioned gifts, I wasn't sure what to expect. Mother,
Oh, look how well it fits you! And the style is to your liking?
It's perfect. Exactly what I would have chosen. But please, tell me you had something different made for Alpha now.
Naturally. You are hardly little children anymore. And while I shall miss dressing you in those precious matching outfits, I must respect the individuals you have grown to become. See for yourself.
Thank you for the splendid clothes, Mother. Stylish, comfortable, and eminently practical.
I am so glad you like them. They are, however, missing one final touch.
If you'd allow me, Master Alphino.
Wait. Are these...
A sage's tools of the trade. They belonged to your father. Though he may as well be chained to his desk these days, as a student he was often called upon to venture into the field. He wielded those armaments, both to heal and to harm in no few battles. None so fierce as those you two have braved, perhaps, but battles nonetheless. Thus did I pull them out of storage, to show you that he was not always the man who stands in vehement opposition to you now. And also because it would be a terrible waste of ridiculously expensive House Leveilleur commissioned artistry. I am told these devices are quite difficult to master, but someone of your extensive experience should soon have them darting about with grace and aplomb. May the wisdom in that crystal serve you well. And please, try to find common ground with your father, that you might come and go without need for this awful subterfuge.
We will, Mother. I promise.
My final gifts to you, before you run off, are an observation and a suggestion. Firstly, Fortuno has ever been a serious man, but it was only after you were born that he truly lost himself in his work. I may not know the Forum's inner workings, but I know your father's. The timing of that change in him holds some significance. Secondly, do not seek to best your father with words. Far better that you simply show him. Let him discover the merit of your actions, after they cannot be undone.
Oh, Mother.
We shall take your wisdom to heart. Thank you again for these gifts, and farewell for now.
Safe travels, my children. Eat well, stay warm, and keep your friends close.
That was that. Only guys know when we'll be back again. Thank you for indulging about this request. I can see it meant a lot to her, and I shall refrain from inquiring as to the content of your private conversation. Our visit was all too brief. For now, however, it'll have to suffice. As we will take the tokens of home that we carry with us, these gifts to help us remember who we are and whence we came. Enough of the sentimentality. Let's return to the annex and rejoin our companions. Don't think for a moment I'm jealous of Alphina's new weapons. They're far more suited to him than me. Although Pharaoh's here matching outfits, but our styles, both fashion and fighting, have long since diverged. If anything, I'm proud of the differences between us. I intend to master these stages armaments, but I mean learning to imbue them with the secret ether I poured into the moonstone and obsidian. It is difficult to grasp the existence of such an entity. For me, it will help think of the Nolas as allies in battle. Simply a new form of the energy which went to manifesting my carbuncle companions. For us to feel responsible for the schism of House Labyrinthos would be pure hubris. After all, we are merely on the outskirts of what is essentially a family affair. And yet, neither can we play into the difference of strangers. To hear the mother welcome them so warmly was a joy and a relief. Curious as I am to learn the truth of this duty, I wonder what else the Forum is hiding. The calamitous secret whose origin lies in the ethereal sea. Duplicity aside, however, I do not believe Master Fortuno means us ill. Even the harsh words he had towards his children stemmed not from anger, I think, but desperation. Enjoyed your time with the Labyrinthos, I hope. I would ask how the twins fared, but their new outfits tell the tale. I can only hope that we can help them reconcile with their father, and then return home one day with their heads held high. In the meantime, we edge ever closer to the secret of the Forum strives to hide, and the flower bequeathed to you by Hadlin is sure to guide us going forward. I'm confident that once you've scouted out the situation with Daphne, we'll be well equipped to plot our next move. Remember when I was still coming to terms with my talent in the Echo, just being wrapped in the robe my grandfather gave me somehow made everything less daunting. I see. I was unable to find the specimen either. However, I did meet someone who claimed to have seen it in Mornvale Forest. Let's head there and see if we can track it down. Yes, there can be no doubt. These are Shadow's footprints. I've uncovered the specimen's trail. Should be close. If you find it and declare it for the local fauna, you may dispatch its assailants. Oh, I'm so glad you're unarmed. You're all sick. Come on, let's go home soon. We're out of food. Archeon is under threat. I must do something. What is this threat? You can understand me? Hey, able to communicate. Incredible. I've never met someone with such skill before. Son of Joy was born in Labyrinthos. However, he was abandoned by his mother in quite the state by the time we found him. He possessed a remarkable intelligence of one of his kind. He elected to use them as a part of his study and the effects of growing up in an artificial environment. I've seen him taking gestures that indicate he's been reading the tomes here, but I thought he was only just copying those around him. Do you think he actually understands speech? Though I do wonder exactly why you are able to understand him, I am not. I'm sort of special. Really? Oh, well, I wouldn't give to understand him too. You possess the echo, don't you? I find it difficult to grr the way you can do, but I suppose it makes sense when you understand my general sentiments. I happen to learn to have power of the tomes of the Archeon. Honestly, the buffoon over there is surrounded by a sea of knowledge he makes no effort to engage with. Urgh. Anyway, I'm finally glad I have someone to talk to. As I was saying, the Archeon is in grave danger. Some cleaner managed to bring woodworms into the within during a visit. If we leave them be, they're bound to cause irreparable damage to the materials of the facility. I tried my best to tell that buffoon, but it was no use. That's why I took a chance and went to search for some of my own kind to see if they would help. See how that turned out. Well, what does he say? Oh, Dearie me. Still, it's most courageous of him to try to solve the issue on his own. Now that I'm aware of it, we'll need to sort out this pest problem at once. Would you mind helping out a little longer? You're the only one who can understand it after all, and it seems some mobs ahead of us with regard to the situation at hand. Sarah, ready for a nap? Clean sheets and warm blankets away. Rest as long as you like.